Hello and welcome to another update video. Today we want to talk about Monero XMR. It is a coin I don't cover very often. I find the chart not very clear. The problem I have with this chart is that the move up between 2020 and 2021 is not clearly impulsive. It also did not really clearly make a new high. It made a new high above the 2018 high, but it depends on what exchange you're looking at. For example, on Binance, it didn't. So it's not a very clear chart. Nevertheless, what we can do, we can approach the chart, take a look from a bullish point of view, and we can highlight what the levels are that in a bullish perspective, the price basically needs to hold. So obviously, we need to start the wave count at this all-time low in 2015. This here can be interpreted as a wave 1. The move down would therefore be a wave 2. And looking at a very bullish perspective, that's basically a moon count. I would disregard completely the timeline. I would disregard these prices. I'm only going to put these waves there so that we basically know where we are in the cycle, okay? But what is more relevant for the short term in a bullish scenario is what's happening here now. Yeah. So the move down was a WXY structure, but that's not so important. Doing the detailed wave count here, it's really not so important. We can interpret this as a 5-wave move up, but it's not a crystal clear one. I don't like this, the look of this. It's just too choppy. It could just easily be corrective. But because it basically rallied quite substantially and it actually did hold quite well relevant Fibonacci support levels, we can take a bullish stance on this one. It's just not very clear. But yeah, what happened since 2020? So this is now important. Looking at this rally, again, also not clearly impulsive. I don't like how this chart is moving. Nevertheless, let's see if we can calculate or develop an impulse here and identify an impulse. So I would argue, and I will change the wave degree in a minute, that this here is a 1-2 setup with a very short wave 2. Then up there would be a third wave, and we're going to label the subwaves in a minute. I just want to put these waves on. 3, yeah. So important, typically the third wave is the longest wave. You can see that this wave 4 probably unfolded as a triangle. So let's see if we can label 5 waves within the third wave, because that's the longest one, seems to be an extended one, which is often what happens in crypto. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is how I would label this move to the upside. And based on that, we can argue also here within the third wave, then the third wave, the longest one, and also 5 waves. So based on that, I would argue that this can be counted as an impulse to the upside. Still don't really like the look of it. Don't like that this wave 2 wasn't really deep. I don't like the look of the third wave, but it's possible to interpret that as a bullish wave count. Also because all the relevant support levels did hold. Let's change the wave degrees here. And then what we can do is, based on that, identify the sub-wave structures within here. Huge circle wave 3. This would again be a 5-wave move. Wave 1 to the upside, wave 2 to the downside, 3, 4, 5. So this would be the next higher wave degree. Okay, so what we now need to understand, how does wave 2 unfold? Is it already complete? Is it likely that it's already complete? Well, it looks like a complete 3-wave move to me. First of all, what I normally do in these instances is to add Fibonacci support. What I normally want in a wave 2 is that the 50% retracement level is respected. And it seems to be respected for now. Okay, the price came down into this Fib support area and it was respected. Okay, how would I normally count this? It looks like a complex correction to me. Probably the best count here. So let's first of all, this looks like an A wave, this deep move down. So we probably had an A wave here, looks impulsive. Then a B wave rally, corrective rally in 3 waves. And then the C wave down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. Probably here, yeah. So we have 3 waves down, but that is not the complete correction. So how do we deal with that? Well, That's why typically a complex correction consists of two ABC structures and a connecting wave. We call that a WXY structure. So the ABC was a wave W, X, Y. Where then also in the Y wave we have here probably an A wave, B wave, C wave. Don't need to put the labels onto the chart for that. But it's a WXY structure in wave 2. So that means that either wave 2 is already finished. The problem is that I don't really see any impulsive movement of the lows. So either it's finished or wave 2 will reset a little lower. So basically, based on that assumption, I would say primarily, also because I expected for Bitcoin, we will get a lower wave 2. Yeah, that would be my primary scenario. But then again, I would say generally, as long as the $49.50 level is holding, to expect a third wave rally is actually quite reasonable. So it still has a lot of space in this pullback zone. Okay, so that means, okay, I just need to focus on that support area here, which goes down all the way to $50. And as long as that level is holding, a third wave rally, to expect that is reasonable. The lower we are in this box, the better the reward to risk ratio for any long trade. Yeah. If this wave 2 is still unfolding, then we would have an even more complex wave W. X wave might be unfolding right now still, yeah, and the Y wave. So just a more complex correction, which stretches out much further. But at the moment, okay, what happens if the wave 2 is already in? What do we now need to see? Well, first of all, the make or break point for this scenario that the wave 2 low is already in is this low at $96. Any break below $96 will clearly invalidate the idea that yellow wave 2 already ended. So we would then need to look at the sub-wave structures. First of all, how would that unfold? Because this looks very choppy, so it rather looks corrective. Not very happy with how this structure here is unfolding. Therefore, I said to you, primarily, I would expect another low, and this would be some kind of a corrective wave for which we have resistance. Here, all the way up to $364. So this is B wave resistance, yeah, or Y wave, no, sorry, X wave, WXY. This would be resistance. If we get into this area, expect resistance here. If we get above $364, I think we can go in a third wave, which would be very, very aggressive, okay? I mean, how could this unfold? If it's bullish, then I would argue that, let's see, this here was probably a wave 1. Let's see. So obviously we now need to look at, this is a wave 2. Yeah, see, it's very, very choppy price action that's unfolding here. I would actually argue that we probably have a 1-2, 1-2, 1-2 setup, and I don't believe that. So that would be very, very bullish, a set of 3 1-2 setups. On the other hand, you could argue we actually need that to get that high, okay? Because a target for this third wave, and again, that is highly speculative. I would not really use those moon targets necessarily, but we talk about the area between $4,000 and $12,000, okay? But again, I would not really use that target right now. I would focus on just the next 1-2 setup always, okay? Yeah, I mean, to label that as a 1-2, 1-2, again, not too confident. So in the best case, 1-2, and this should go like that. Then here another 1. But actually, this looks like a high. This looks like a B wave, 3 wave structure. So let's go to the daily chart. Yeah, this looks corrective. So probably I would rather say wave 1, A wave down, overshooting B wave, or even a WXY structure. Wave 2 here, and then this is another 1-2 setup, which, to be fair, could be complete. Even though, again, example doesn't look great, right? It's not a clear 5-wave move. Very hard to recognize what the subwaves are. Oops. But I would argue you could probably count here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you could say this was a wave 1 again. And then an A wave down, B wave, C wave. We have enough waves complete. But then what's happening here is certainly something I don't like. It just doesn't really move to the upside, does it? You know, so I'm very skeptical. But to keep it short, I mean, this analysis gives us the key levels to watch, because I can tell that as long as the price stays, I have to change that wave degree. On the smaller time frame, as long as the price stays above $136, this third wave rally can unfold on the smaller degree, right? Do I believe it? Not really. Yeah, a break above $175 will be better confirmation that this is actually unfolding. And a target for this small third wave would be between $195 and $218. Okay, so we're very close to the invalidation point, very close to support. Third wave target, decent reward to risk. Do I believe it? Not really. Okay, but it is certainly a wave count that where a third wave rally could start. Now, okay, below that level, next key level to watch is $129, circle wave 2. And below that level, 116. Below that level, and that's then the larger assumption, $98. Below $98 at the latest, it is confirmed that this wave 2 will reset, and it has a lot of space. In that scenario, I would argue we only had a W. X wave, again, this could still unfold in various ways into resistance. This is resistance. And below the June 22 low, it's confirmed that we're already coming down and would then reset lower. Support is then $82 and $49.93. So because I don't see a clear impulse, I mean, there's a couple of 1-2 setups, but honestly, it hasn't really moved higher off the 2020 lows. I would currently think, someone who's looking for long positions, I mean, you can go with that wave count now, yeah, because it is a bullish scenario. We can argue that the wave 2 might have completed and that we have here a series of 1-2, 1-2 setups. I gave you the invalidation points, the key levels to watch. Against those, the focus can be on higher, but when the floor starts to crack and those support levels start to break, then I think we are dealing here with an extension of the wave 2 to either $82 or even $49.90. I can tell you that below $49.90, I have nothing bullish left on this chart. There just isn't anything. Well, doesn't mean it will go to zero, but it means that the assumption that this is a 1-2, 1-2 setup, that will not have worked out, okay? Below $49.90, even though it doesn't invalidate the second 1-2 setup, it will most likely fail. Then it will also take out probably $25. I mean, what's left then? Then we have left the scenario that we could say, okay, maybe this was really a wave 1, but then an A wave down, overshooting B wave or high B wave, and we're actually coming down in a C wave, but then you talk about single digits, yeah. So it is therefore, I call it bearish below $49.90. Until then, we could look up. And there is a certain microstructure count that I showed to you today, that I presented to you, that would allow for immediate movements to the upside. And I have to say, to be honest, see, it's actually not too bad. I mean, this chart is not too bad. It's been holding quite well, especially compared to some other coins. I'm surprised, actually. It's been holding quite well, I guess also compared to Bitcoin, but it hasn't really rallied that significantly of last year's lows. So Bitcoin has done a better job there because the low was here around 95. It did treat, okay, it's not too bad. It's also nearly doubled, basically, yeah. But then also it's been coming down, but it's holding quite well. But, all of this overlapping price action, it just leaves a lot of room for interpretation. So from a bullish point of view, the situation is quite clear. We have a 1-2, 1-2 setup, or even 3 1-2 setups, even though that is very hard to believe because it would be very bullish. and it would then now need to deliver. Okay. I can tell you I'm quite skeptical. I think it is still very likely to see another low here, and then $82 would be key support and $49.90. But at the moment, as long as we are holding above support, because we had 5-wave structures to the upside, yeah, and corrective cycles are complete, and we're holding above support, potentially it's moving higher from here, yeah. But to confirm that, in the next step, I need to see a break above this wave 1 high at $172. That would be good confirmation that indeed something more bullish is playing out. I need to see a break above that $172 level, because that would be confirmation that the third wave is rolling. Yeah, that's my update about XMR. I hope you liked the update. Please leave a comment if you did, and subscribe. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.